Artisanal sourdough currently carries the reputation of a gut-healthy superfood. This raises a critical question. Does sourdough provide a biological bypass for the issues normally associated with wheat, or is it just a slightly less damaging version of standard bread? This quadrant chart maps gut inflammation against metabolic impact. Your standard whole wheat bread drops directly into the high inflammation, high impact corner. But aggressive internet marketing has placed a murky health halo over sourdough, leaving its actual position on this chart a mystery. You hear doctors condemn grains entirely to lower blood sugar, while simultaneously watching wellness influencers praise sourdough for doing the exact same thing. Misjudging how your specific body processes this bread carries real consequences. Get it right, and you add a highly optimized food to your diet. Get it wrong, and you can actively trigger a severe autoimmune flare-up. To understand the impact, we have to look past the artisanal romance. Sourdough is a fermented food, defined by its microbial activity. The fermentation starter you use is an active colony of probiotics. These good bacteria essentially pre-digest the grain by consuming its fibers and carbohydrates long before the bread ever enters your mouth. This bacterial consumption alters the grain's chemical structure, but it still leaves behind a starchy carbohydrate with almost zero protein. Any health benefits you extract from eating it rely entirely on the byproducts those bacteria leave behind after they finish consuming the starch. Sourdough is grain modified by microbes. Its safety depends entirely on your body's baseline ability to handle carbohydrates. This vertical bar chart tracks gluten reduction. Standard bread towers at 124,000 parts per million. Sourdough fermentation drops that load to roughly 200. A massive reduction, but the FDA requires less than 20 for gluten-free, and celiac certifications demand less than 10. Sourdough fails both. For individuals with compromised digestion, that remaining 200 parts per million introduces a severe biological threat through a protein called zonulin. Zonulin is a protein synthesized in intestinal cells that regulates the permeability of the digestive tract. When sensitive individuals ingest even trace amounts of gluten, their intestines massively increase zonulin production. High levels of zonulin force the tight junctions in your gut lining to loosen. This creates intestinal permeability, which is commonly referred to as leaky gut. Once that barrier is compromised, large proteins and lipopolysaccharides slip directly into the bloodstream. Lipopolysaccharides are large bacterial toxins that trigger strong immune responses. When they enter the blood, they drive up systemic inflammation throughout the entire body. That extreme reduction in gluten makes sourdough highly digestible for the average person. But if you are dealing with autoimmune issues, that trace amount is a biological trigger that sets off an inflammatory cascade. The logical next step for the health-conscious viewer is to seek out certified gluten-free sourdough starters. Achieving 0 parts per million of gluten requires removing wheat entirely. Manufacturers substitute the wheat with alternative grains like corn, rice, or buckwheat. This introduces a hidden trade-off. Alternative grains like corn and rice frequently trigger cross-reactive sensitivities in people who already suffer from compromised gut health. You have to strictly audit the ingredients of any gluten-free starter to see if your specific biology can actually tolerate the alternative grains being used. Attempting to bypass wheat by going strictly gluten-free often means trading one inflammatory trigger for another. It offers no automatic safe harbor for the severely gut-compromised. This line graph tracks glycemic load, measuring how quickly your blood sugar rises and stays elevated. Standard bread causes a sharp, damaging spike. Compare that to sourdough. The fermentation process creates a much lower, smoother curve, significantly blunting the impact. Because of this lower curve, your pancreas produces far less insulin to metabolize the meal. Over time, this protects your long-term insulin sensitivity. The fermentation process also creates a second major benefit: postbiotics. Postbiotics are the beneficial waste products, like acetic acid and elevated B vitamins, released by the bacteria after they finish consuming the bread's fiber. These postbiotics stimulate stomach acid, your pancreatic enzymes, and your bile production. By stimulating that internal environment, you directly improve your body's overall digestive function and its ability to absorb nutrients from the meal. For a person with a healthy metabolism, combining a lowered glycemic load with a high concentration of postbiotics makes sourdough objectively superior to standard wheat bread. This decision tree maps out how to match sourdough to your biological scenario. Starting at the top, do you have chronic inflammation or an autoimmune condition? If yes, you are gut compromised, and the recommendation is to strictly avoid it. The hard truth is that sourdough presents a biological risk for this group. The trace gluten will drive intestinal permeability and halt systemic healing. If you answer no to the first question, we move to the healthy segment. Are you metabolically healthy and active? If yes, the recommendation is that sourdough is an optimal addition to consume in moderation. For healthy individuals, it provides vital blood sugar stabilization and excellent digestive utility. If you fall into the middle ground, dealing with mild gluten sensitivities but no severe autoimmune disease, you must follow a strict protocol to individually test your tolerance to gluten-free alternatives. Sourdough is neither a universal poison nor a universal cure. Its validity as a healthy choice is dictated entirely by the strictness of your biological baseline, not the quality of the bakery. Never let internet marketing or a trendy health halo dictate your dietary strategies. Fermentation is an incredible tool for predigestion, but it does not erase the nature of the carbohydrate itself. The metabolic shifts seen in sourdough are the result of applied biology. True health optimization requires stopping the search for easy exceptions. Instead, align the exact biological profile of your food to the current reality of your body.